This episode of Talking Timbers is brought to you by Appalachian Log Structures, International Homes of Cedar, Log Home Insurance, Rustic Log and Timber, Timberhaven Log and Timber Homes, U.S. Bank, and Ziegler Farms Handcrafted Flooring.
This continues our Let's Talk interviews with exhibitors. These are professionals in their chosen field that are tied to the log home and timber frame industry who really want to help everybody with their quest of building their new log and timber frame home. And today we got a little different angle. We're talking to the wood dabbler. That's Merle Ottenberg. Merle's based out of Knoxville, Tennessee, and he builds one-of-a-kind live-edge rustic furniture, which is a unique process. This type of furniture goes great in any home, but we really like it in a log home or a timber frame home. I guess that's just the way we are. And Merle, I want to welcome you today. You're going to talk about sourcing the wood for live-edge furniture, something maybe when people go shopping. You know, I always said at our shows, and we have all this really cool sculpted furniture, if you will. I always think, you know, if people wanted a chair, they'd go to a furniture store, right? I always think they want a story. They want to know how Merle sourced the wood for that. Can you kind of help us out with that?
I sure can, Eric. What I do is I look for unique pieces and also go to sawmills that have a kiln dried capability. I do not trust the air dried materials because it could be 2 weeks and they tell you it's been 2 years. And if it's not stabilized, it will, once it's in the home, it will try to stabilize itself and you end up with cracking, splitting, warping, and everything. And with the quality of furniture that I build, I don't need that. I source as far as Kentucky, Ohio, North Carolina, of course, here in my home state of Tennessee. And I have some unique sources, but I can typically go into any of the sawmills and go through a walkthrough. I'm looking for something unique and something, you know, that I think would look absolutely beautiful or gorgeous when the work is completed. I would advise anybody, if they do this on their own, that it's a process in all its own to have a completed project that you will end up liking. Most of my furniture, of course, I feel the quality that I build is possibly heirloom pieces for in the future.
That's so, you know, along those same lines, you know, and I want to remind everyone, you know, this is usually when you're at an in-person event, you have a bunch of furniture hanging around so people can see it. But the next best thing is they can go to your website, thewooddabbler.net, and they can take a peek at your stuff. But let's talk about the different species of wood that you like to work with and how they vary and some of the things that you look at, the size of that. And you're saying, which I always like, stuff out of the rough. That's kind of Merle's handle. So he makes stuff out of the rough. So can you kind of let people know it, like the species, why that's important for making the type of furniture you do?
Well, of course, hardwood's more durable. There's softwoods, which you can still incorporate, and the finish can actually make it a little more durable. But there's quality in all the species. Of course, the walnuts and cherries and poplars are my favorites, but I can use anything. And if it has a void or a crack, you know, in the olden days, you used to cut that off or cut it out, but I'll fill it in with epoxy resins to, you know, add some more accents to the piece as well. And my staining process, sometimes I do it natural stain. Sometimes I'll add a colorant or a stain to it that really pulls out the quality of the piece. It's just a natural knack that I've had. I enjoy doing what I do.
When we talk about furniture like this, like I've got a live edge coffee table and I've got 3 boys, and, you know, I try to ask them over the years to kindly not put their shoes on it and their cans of soda and water and all that stuff. And naturally that happens 50% of the time. But what about that kind of finish when you're dealing with that kind of furniture, whether it be an end table or a coffee table, something that's going to always have some activity on it?
Well, I've found through trial and error, I've come up with it's called Seikos. It's a hard wax oil finish. It actually protects the table from, it's actually resilient to water, beers, oils, alcohol, of course, for not long extended periods. But and that's a German oil finish. And I found it to be one of the most durable and resilient for the furniture that I build. And it doesn't take away from the furniture look of being natural. It doesn't give it a real high sheen. So it still looks like it's something right out of Mother Nature's album, so to speak.
Which I personally like that. I don't like that real high polyurethane, that gloss finish. That just, to me, doesn't work. But everybody's different, right? I mean, somebody comes up and says, I want that. You can do it for them, right?
Well, yeah, I do custom furniture, so I can provide whatever's requested. But my personal opinion is I'm with you, Eric. I don't like the real high glossy sheen.
One of the things, so you're doing basically, a lot of people come to you with their ideas when you're doing custom furniture, or are you like knocking stuff out and you have an inventory, or how does that all work when you're dealing with something as custom as the furniture you're building?
Well, in the custom industry, it's the customer is always right, of course. I take their ideas in mind, and I'll work back and forth. I'll source wood and I'll show them pictures. I'll ask them about their color preferences. I'll talk to them about their leg preferences. I'll ask them the sizes that are needed, and I'll try to accommodate that the best I can. And of course, it's a back and forth process as I'm working the piece. What do you think? Should I do this? Should I do that? And of course, give my feedback and also ask for theirs. And then we come to an understanding, and the piece is the final product.
No, it's amazing what goes into something like this. I mean, there's a lot of work there. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier. If they wanted a piece of furniture, a chair, they'd go to the furniture store. They're looking for a story. When you have sourcing of wood, the different styles of wood, the custom nature of the build, the personal requirements, a lot goes into that rather than just simply making a coffee table. So I find that to be particularly.
Well, it's certainly a personal touch. It's, I have to have it 100% before it leaves the shop. In fact, I've seen other people do the same type of furniture that I do, but I finish the bottoms as well as I do the tops. So it's an all complete package when I'm done.
Well, it looks better when you're vacuuming, Merle. You can look up and see that finished wood. I know I find that all the time. Merle, I want to thank you for your time today. Always great to talk with professionals and craftspeople like you who really put your heart in this stuff. It shows. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you very much, Eric.
So little final on the wood dabbler. Got anything you want to say? What you want to add?
Not too much. I think we've pretty much covered it all. But if you come to me, I'll work with you. If you have that place in mind that you need a piece of furniture that's kind of unique, I can certainly accommodate.
Awesome. Hey, Merle, we'll talk soon. Have a great rest of your day.